The space station Juno 7 inches floated silently above Jupiter's clouds. It was a small research and supply outpost, far from Earth. Most days were quiet. The people on board worked, slept, and repeated the same routine. Nothing exciting ever happened. Mark Davis was one of the few humans stationed there. He was a technician, young, smart, and quiet. He fixed machines, cleaned filters, and checked power lines. He didn't talk much, and most people ignored him. He liked it that way. He was used to being alone. But everything changed the day Lyra arrived. She stepped off the shuttle wearing a dark blue jumpsuit. Her skin was pale, her eyes bright silver. She had long black hair tied behind her head. She moved with grace, almost too graceful for normal gravity. Mark noticed that right away. She introduced herself in a soft voice. "Hello, I'm Lyra. I've been assigned as a civilian assistant." Commander Hale nodded. "You'll work with Dr. Kenzo in biostorage. Report there tomorrow." Lyra gave a quiet "yes, sir," and walked away. Mark watched her from the corner of the docking bay. Something about her felt just different. The next few days, Mark kept running into Lyra by accident. Once in the cafeteria, once in the engine room, and once near the air recycling vents. She always smiled politely, said little, and walked off quickly. But Mark started noticing things. Small things. One time she picked up a hot tool with her bare hand. No burn marks. Another time, the air scanner showed her oxygen levels too high, like her lungs weren't human. And then there was the med scan. All crew were supposed to get a health check. Lyra skipped hers, said she felt fine. The doctor let it go, but Mark didn't forget. He wasn't a spy or anything, but he was curious and careful. Late one night, the station had a power flicker. Mark went to check the outer ring. As he walked past one of the observation windows, he froze. There outside the station was Lyra, no spacesuit, no helmet, just her blue jumpsuit. Her hair floated around her, and she was breathing in open space. Mark's heart jumped. He ducked down, hiding behind a pipe. He couldn't believe what he saw. After a few minutes, she floated back to the airlock and entered the station again. Mark waited until she was gone, then ran back to his room. The next day he found her near the water pumps. "You're not human," he said quietly. Lyra's eyes went wide. "What?" "I saw you. Outside. No suit, no air, just floating." She looked around. Ow. No one else was nearby. Mark stepped closer. "Who are you really?" Lyra didn't answer right away. Then she said in a soft voice, "Come to my room tonight. I'll explain everything, but please, don't tell anyone yet." Mark stared at her. "Why should I trust you?" "Because if you don't, I might not live to see the next sunrise." That night, Mark couldn't sleep. His mind was racing. Who or what was Lyra? Why was she on this station? Was she dangerous? At midnight, he walked to her room and knocked. Lyra opened the door and let him in. Her room was quiet and warm. A small heat lamp glowed in the corner. "Sit," she said, pointing to the bed. Mark sat at the edge. Lyra stood by the wall, silent for a moment. Then she spoke. "My real name is Lyra Vestinari, from a race called the Veleri. We're from a star system in the Orion Arm. My people can adapt to many environments. Space, cold, heat, even human bodies." "Why are you here?" Mark asked. "I'm hiding," she said. "My planet was taken over by a new empire. Family. They were leaders. Royal blood. I escaped. But now bounty hunters are searching for me." Mark's jaw tightened. "You're saying this place isn't safe?" Lyra nodded. "Not for me. And now not for you." He stood up. "Should report this." Her eyes filled with worry. "Please, Mark. Don't. I'm not here to hurt anyone. I just want to live. I just want to survive." He hesitated, then. Lyra said something strange. "Let me warm your bed tonight. That is the Veleri way of showing deep trust. It's not what you think. It means I give you my safety. My peace. It's yours." Mark looked confused. "I want to sleep in my bed." "No, I will use my energy to keep your room warm. It is my gift of protection. It is how we say thank you and trust someone with our life. Mark wasn't sure what to say, but he nodded. Okay. That night, back in his room, Mark lay in bed. The station had a power drop, no heat. Usually it would be freezing, but not tonight. The air was warm. The blanket felt soft. In the corner, Lyra sat cross-legged, eyes closed, her skin glowing faintly. Mark stared at her. She wasn't human, but she wasn't a monster either. He pulled the blanket over himself and closed his eyes. For the first time in months, he slept peacefully. The next morning, Mark woke up warm and rested. It was strange. The station's heating system had gone offline again, but his room felt like summer on Earth. He looked at the corner. Lyra was gone. He sat up, thinking about everything that happened. Last night, alien girl royalty in the run, hiding on a cold space station near Jupiter. It sounded like something from a bad space movie, but it was real, and he was now part of it. Later that day, Mark saw Lyra in the cafeteria. She sat alone at a table, eating something that looked like green jelly. No one else seemed to notice her. Maybe they just didn't care. Mark sat beside her. You left before I woke up. I didn't want to be seen, she said softly. People might ask questions. Fair enough, Mark said. So? What now? Lyra looked around. No one was listening. I need your help. Just for a little longer. Mark frowned. What kind of help? Keep my secret, and tell me if you hear anyone asking about strangers. Hunters might be coming soon. Mark leaned closer. Would bounty hunters chase someone all the way out here? 'Cause of what I am, she said, and what I carry inside me? That night, Mark returned to her room. This time, she didn't hide anything. She held out her hand. Her skin shimmered and changed. For a moment, her fingers grew longer, her nails glowing faint blue. Then her hand returned to normal. I can shift parts of my body, she explained. It's how I survived in space without a suit. I conceal my skin, store oxygen in my blood, and control my body heat. Mark was amazed. That's credible. Not to them, Lyra said sadly. To the Empire, I'm a threat. The last of the Valari royal line. They catch me, they'll kill me. Quietly, no one will. No. Mark sat down on the bed. And you came here to hide? She nodded. This station is forgotten. No one pays attention to it. I thought I would be safe here, but you're not, are you? Lyra's voice dropped to a whisper. No. I felt something yesterday. A signal. A scan. They're close. 2 days later, a new ship docked at Juno-7. It was a dark gray cruiser. With no markings, 3 tall figures stepped out, wearing long cloaks and shiny helmets. They didn't smile, didn't talk much. Commander Hale met them at the bay. Welcome. You weren't expected. One of them spoke. We're doing a routine check. Looking for a fugitive, a danger to the galaxy. Mark watched from behind a crate. He felt cold. They were here, the bounty hunters. Mark rushed to find Lyra. He found her in the air vent room, cleaning filters. They're here, he whispered. 3 of them, asking questions. Lyra's face went pale. We need to hide you, Mark said. Now she hesitated. If I run, they'll know it's me. If I stay, they might find me anyway. Mark grabbed her hand. Come with me. I have an idea. Mark led her to the lower maintenance bay. There was a giant water tank used for emergency storage. It was rarely checked. He opened the hatch. Get in, he said. Lyra looked inside. It was cold and dark. You'll be safe. Here, Mark said. Just for a few hours, I'll check when they leave. She nodded slowly. You're risking everything for me. Mark gave a small smile. I know. She climbed inside and he sealed the hatch. Then he walked back into the hallway and acted like nothing had happened. Later, the bounty hunters began scanning rooms and crew. They used strange devices that hummed and clicked. Mark acted normal. When one of them asked, Have you seen anyone strange? He shook his head. Just the usual, he said. Everyone's boring here. The hunter stared at him for a moment, then moved on. Mark's heart was racing that night. Mark returned to the tank and opened the hatch. Lyra climbed out, shivering a little. Her skin glowed faintly as she warmed herself. "You're safe," he whispered. "For now," she said. She looked at him with strange, shining eyes. "You could have turned me in. They would have paid you. A lot." Mark shrugged. "Money isn't worth your life." She smiled. "In Valari culture, when someone saves you, you owe them a life. Debt." Mark raised an eyebrow. "I don't want your life, no," Lyra said. "But now I must protect yours, no matter what." The next day, the bounty hunters left the station. They told Commander Hale they found no signs of the fugitive. Mark watched their ship fly away. He let out a long breath. That night, Lyra came to his room again. She brought 2 heat stones from her homeworld. She placed them under his bed. "You'll never be cold again," she said with a soft smile. Mark laughed. "I think you've warmed more than just the bed." She looked away, her cheeks turning a soft purple glow. "I'm glad you found out," she said quietly. "I was tired of hiding." Mark looked at her. She wasn't just an alien. She was a person. It's brave, smart, and kind. And maybe, like something more. Days passed after the bounty hunters left Juno 7. The space station returned to its quiet routine. People worked, ate, and slept. But for Mark and Lyra, life had changed forever. Mark still fixed machines and checked systems, but now he had something else on his mind. Lyra. Every night she visited his room. Sometimes she brought heat stones, sometimes warm food, and sometimes just silence. Her presence made the cold, lonely station feel alive. They talked. They laughed. Slowly, Mark saw a different side of her, not just a hidden alien, not just royalty, but someone strong, gentle, and brave. And Lyra saw Mark to not just a technician, but a man who risked everything to protect her. Their bond grew, but peace didn't last long. One day, while Mark was checking a vent system near the docking bay, he heard voices. A new ship had arrived. He peeked around the corner. A tall man in dark armor was talking to Commander Hale. He didn't wear a helmet like the bounty hunters, but he looked just as dangerous. "I'm looking for someone," the man said in a cold voice. "She goes by many names, but I believe she is here." Commander Hale frowned. "We already had bounty hunters check this station. They found nothing." "I'm not a bounty hunter," the man said. "I am Raizkor, servant of the Keldar Empire. If you are hiding her, there will be consequences." Mark felt his heart sink. The Keldari Empire. That was the name Lyra had whispered the night she told him her truth. They had found her again. Mark rushed to find Lyra. He found her in the supply room, stacking food packets. "There's someone new," he said quickly. "It's not like the others. He says he's from the Keldari Empire." Lyra dropped a packet. Her face went pale. "Raizkor," she said softly. "He's one of their elite hunters, not a normal soldier. He hunts people like Mevalar survivors." Mark looked around. "We need a new plan." "Hiding in tanks won't work this time," Lyra nodded. "You're right. If he's here, others will follow. They don't give up." Mark took her hand. "And let's stop running." That night, they sat in Mark's room trying to make a plan. "We can't stay here," Mark said. "Eventually they'll search everything." "I could try to leave the station," Lyra said. "Hide in a cargo ship?" "No," Mark said firmly. "If they catch you out there, you'll be alone." Lyra looked at him. "Shh. Why do you care so much, Mark?" He looked back. "Because I believe in you. And because you make me feel alive. Like I matter." Lyra smiled. "Then we fight together." The next day, Lyra used a trick she had never shown before. She stood in front of Mark and closed her eyes. Her skin shimmered and her face changed. Her hair turned short and blonde. Her eyes became blue. She looked like a completely different person. "This is my mimic form," she said. "I can blend in for short times, but it takes energy. Hold it for long." Mark was amazed. "You look like one of the engineers." "That's the idea," she said. "I'll walk past Raizkor. If he doesn't notice, we'll have time to leave the station." Mark nodded. "And if he does, then we run." They walked through the station together, trying to act normal. Lyra, in her disguise, stayed beside Mark like a regular assistant, but Raya's core was watching everyone as they passed the cafeteria. His eyes locked on Lyra, even in disguise, Mark noticed. He knows. Mark whispered. Suddenly, Ray's core started walking toward them. His voice echoed through the hallway. You. We're a different face, Valari, but I feel your heat. Cannot hide from me. Lyra's disguise vanished. Her true form appeared, silver eyes glowing, black hair flowing. Mark grabbed her hand. Run. They sprinted through the halls. Alarms rang. Station guards looked confused, not knowing who to stop. Ray's core followed, fast and silent. They reached the engine bay. Mark opened a panel and pushed Lyra inside a small tunnel used for cooling wires. Go? I'll slow him down. No, Lyra said. He'll kill you. I'll be fine, Mark said. Just go. Lyra stared at him. Then she kissed his forehead and whispered, Thank you. She vanished into the tunnel. Ray's core entered the engine bay. Max stood in the middle, holding a wrench. Where? Is she? The hunter growled. I don't know, Mark said. You lie. Ray's core stepped forward. Mark swung the wrench. The hunter dodged easily and knocked Mark to the ground. You protect her. That makes you a traitor to your own kind. Mark wiped blood from his mouth. Then I guess I'm proud to be a traitor. Ray's core raised his hand, ready to strike, but suddenly the room filled with a bright blue light. Lyra stepped out of the tunnel. Her body glowed with Valari energy. Leave him alone, she said. Your fight is with me. Ray's core smiled. Finally, he rushed toward her, but Lyra raised her hand. A shockwave of energy hit the hunter, throwing him back. Mark watched in awe. Lyra moved like lightning, dodging his attacks, using heat waves and energy blasts. But Ray's core was strong. He got up and charged again. Lyra, slowing down. Mark saw it. She had used too much power. Ray's core pinned her to the wall. You're finished. But Mark wasn't done yet. He grabbed a power cable and slammed it against Ray's core's back. The hunter screamed and fell. Mark helped Lyra up. We have to go. Together, they escaped through the emergency shaft. Ray's core was down, but not for long. Lyra was weak. Her skin was dim. Mark carried her toward the shuttle bay. Where are we going? She asked weakly. To the stars, Mark said. Far away from this place. Lyra smiled. You really are something, Mark. And you still owe me a warm bed, she laughed, even in pain. They reached the dock. Duh! A small cargo shuttle was. Ready? Mark hacked the door and got inside. As the engine started, he looked back. Ray's core stood in the distance. Watching them leave, Mark stared at him. I'll protect her always. The small cargo shuttle shook as Mark pushed the throttle forward. The engines roared, and the station Juno 7 quickly shrank behind them. Stars filled the windows, cold and distant. Lyra lay on the floor, weak but alive. Mark held her hand tightly. Afraid to let go, his heart pounded. He was not just running from hunters anymore now. He was running to protect someone precious. Thank you, Lyra whispered softly, her voice barely above the hum of the engines. Mark smiled tiredly. No need to thank me, we're alive, and that's what matters. Bye. For hours, they flew in silence. The small shuttle had just enough power for one jump, a short trip to the nearest asteroid belt. It was a dangerous place, but perfect for hiding. Mark tried to keep the shuttle steady. Controls were old, but he was good at fixing things. It was like his old job on the station, only now the stakes were higher. Lyra watched him, her eyes faint but shining. You're good at this, she said. Mark shrugged. I fix things. And sometimes I fix problems like us. She smiled weakly. I never thought a human would risk everything for me. Maybe you never met a human like me, Mark said, squeezing her hand. Suddenly, alarms beeped. The shuttle's sensors showed a small ship closing in fast. Hunters, Mark said, panic rising in his voice. Lyra opened her eyes wider. They found us. Mark pushed the throttle harder, but the other ship moved faster. Prepare for a fight, Mark said. The small shuttle had no weapons. Mark's only chance was to use the asteroid belt to hide. He aimed the shuttle toward the dense cluster of rocks. The chase began. The hunter ship fired laser beams. The small shuttle shook from the hits. Mark dodged rocks, twisting the controls. The large stones smashed nearby but missed them. Lyra gripped the floor, holding on tight. Her energy was fading fast. Mark whispered, "Hold on, Lyra. We'll get through this." The tense minutes, the shuttle slipped behind a huge asteroid. The hunter ship lost sight and flew past. Mark breathed deeply. "We're safe. For now," Lyra smiled weakly. "Thanks to you." Mark looked at her, feeling stronger than before. "We need help," he said. "Someone who knows the stars better." Lyra nodded. "There's one. An old friend of my family. A Valari pilot who lives beyond the belt. If we can reach him, he can protect us." Days passed as Mark piloted the shuttle through empty space. Lyra rested, regaining her strength slowly. Mark learned more about the Valari people, their history, their powers, their hope for freedom. Lyra told stories of her childhood, of bright forests and sparkling rivers on her homeworld. Veller's Mark listened, fascinated. He began to understand why she fought so hard to survive. At last, they reached the hidden base of the Valari pilot, a man named Zarek. Zarek's ship was a sleek black starfighter, parked in an asteroid cave. Lyra's eyes lit up when she saw him. "Zarek," she called softly. The pilot came out, tall and strong, with silver skin and sharp eyes. "Lyra," Zarek said with a smile, "you found someone to protect you." Mark stood silently watching. Zarek turned to him. "And you, who are you?" Mark smiled. "I'm the one who keeps her warm." Zarek laughed, a deep and friendly sound. He welcomed them inside the cave. "You're safe here." For the first time, Mark felt hope. He helped repair the small shuttle while Lyra rested. Zarek showed them new weapons and shields. "You'll need these. The Empire won't stop chasing you." Lyra's face grew serious. "We must be ready." That night, Mark and Lyra talked under the artificial sky of the base. She looked at him and said, "You saved me when no one else could." Mark smiled. "I'll keep saving you, for as long as you want." Lyra laughed softly. "I owe you more than a warm bed now." Mark winked. "I'll take that as a promise." But even in safety, danger loomed. So, scanners picked up enemy ships far away. The Keldari Empire was growing stronger. "We don't have much time," Zarek warned. Mark and Lyra prepared to leave the base. They would face new battles, but together they were stronger. The stars glowed cold outside the Valari base, but inside, the air was tense. Mark, Lyra, and Zarek stood around the control panel watching the scanners. "Enemy ships are closing fast," Zarek said. "The Keldari Empire has sent a fleet." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "They want me." Mark clenched his fists. "Then they'll have to go through me first." Zarek quickly gave orders. "Prepare the starfighter. Mark, you'll pilot with me. Lyra, you stay here and protect the base." Lyra shook her head. "I'm coming with you," Zarek said firmly. "You need to stay alive. Your people need hope. You're their princess." Mark looked at her. "You're stronger than you think." Lyra smiled sadly. "I'll fight in my own way." The starfighter launched into space. Mark and Zarek worked side by side, steering through the asteroid belt. Enemy ships appeared like dark shadows. They fired lasers and missiles. The battle began. Mark focused, dodging attacks and firing back. He had never flown a fighter before, but Zarek guided him. "Keep steady," Zarek said. "We've got this." Lyra stayed behind, using her powers to protect the base. She raised her hands, sending waves of energy toward the approaching ships. Her body glowed brightly as she created a shield around the cave. The enemy tried to break through, but the shield held strong. Back in the starfighter, Mark saw one enemy ship break through. "It's heading straight for the base," he shouted. Zarek turned sharply. "I'll handle it. You protect the base." Mark fired lasers at the ship, but it was fast. Zarek fought it fiercely, crashing it into an asteroid. The battle raged for hours. Mark's hands ached. But he didn't stop. He remembered the promise he made to Lyra, to keep her safe. Finally, the enemy ships began to retreat. The Keldari Empire was beaten back, at least for now. Back at the base, Lyra collapsed. Exhausted, Mark rushed to her side. "You were amazing," he said softly. Lyra smiled weakly. "Did it together." Days later, peace returned. Mark and Lyra stood outside the base, looking at the stars. "I never thought I'd find a home out here," Mark said. Lyra took his hand. "You gave me more than safety. You gave me hope." Mark laughed. "And you still owe me a warm bed." Lyra smiled. "I'll keep that promise." They looked up at the galaxy, ready to face whatever came next, side by side.